let's unbox my new Cameo 5. Hi, and welcome to my craft room. My name is Kelsey. I also call myself Dinosaur Mama, and today we are unboxing the Silhouette Cameo 5 and the Electrostatic Mat. I am so grateful that Silhouette reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to partner with them, but I do want to say all of the opinions and my first cuts are definitely my own because obviously, me being me, I went into it without really looking up any instructions and made a few mistakes. But that being said, I did learn from those mistakes and I'm here to share it with you, as well as show you the setup from box to first cut. So this video is going to be pretty simple. I'm going to show you everything that comes in the box, as well as what I did to set up my Silhouette studio to get it to connect. And then I did a couple first cuts, I would say, and I will show you that as well using the Electrostatic Mat. I'm so excited to be showing more videos using Silhouette Studio and my Silhouette machines. I also have a Portrait 3, and I will link that down below to the video of the unboxing of that, which I also messed up on, but that's okay, that's how we learn. For the past week when I got my machine, I have only been using my Silhouette Cameo. I haven't really been using my Cricuts, and it's just because the Cameo is extremely fast. The setup of sending over my designs is really easy. I don't have to worry about where they are on the mat. I don't know how to describe it. I think I just need to show in future videos how to set up and how different it is from Cricut Design Space. And then I've also been using it because it's just, I want to get to know it better. So I'm very happy with this machine. I was nervous I was gonna break it because I really don't know a ton about Silhouette. I only know from my Portrait, but I dove in and I love it. So let's start with the unboxing and into my first cut. So the first thing in the box when you open it is going to be the vinyl roll holder. Cricut sells something like this and it is an additional purchase. Basically, it goes on the end of your Silhouette. There is a piece that you take off and you attach this. You can put rolls of vinyl, and I did break off this piece, but it's easy to snap back on. And I ended up watching another video because I didn't know how to snap it on, and that person also broke that piece off. So it does come off pretty easily. But this is included in the box, and the Cameo can cut up to 16 feet long, which is longer than a Cricut, so that's awesome. I was sent the 12-inch machine, but this also does come in a 15-inch version. So there are two different sizes. The 12-inch comes in pink, black, white, and like a marble color, and the 15-inch only comes in white. It came with the auto blade as well as the blade adjustment tool. And then of course it comes with your plug, your electricity to plug in your machine. Obviously you need to turn it on. There is no wire to connect it manually to your computer. It is all connected through Bluetooth. You do get one 12 by 12 mat. I ended up ordering more sticky mats because I do have the Electrostatic Mat. However, the Electrostatic Mat is not going to work with all materials. So I do have extra sticky mats coming in the mail this week. And then last but not least, you have your machine. Of course, I struggled to get this out, so just give me a second. And this is a big machine. It's definitely longer. I'm looking back to see. It's definitely longer than my Cricuts. So initially I had cleared off all this space on my desk where I do all of my editing. And then I very quickly realized that this setup was not going to work because you have to be able to put your mats through just like you would with any other cutting machine. And obviously, if I was cutting something that's more than the 12 inches, it's going to hit my wall. So I was like, okay, this is not going to work. So my plan now, I did do this. I moved it to its own table. I moved my automatic heat press and my Silhouette Portrait to my desk, and I moved this onto its own table because I just need the space for it, because the Electrostatic Mat itself is long, and then the roll attachment is big, and the machine itself is big. So I ended up moving this. So with this unboxing, I will also say, make sure, triple check yourself that you're removing all of this tape and all of this cardboard. And the reason I say make sure is because I turned my machine on and I forgot one of the pieces of cardboard, and the noise that came out of this was not fun. So just make sure you're really double checking, triple checking that you're getting all of this stuff out. So the next part I want to show is this is the Electrostatic Mat. It is 12 by 12. They do not make a bigger one for the 15-inch machine. So the max is 12 by 12. And it is an additional $99 right now. I love it. It comes with the mat itself, which you do have to attach where you would attach that roll add-on, the vinyl. Here's me attempting to just like stick it on. I was like, I don't know how to do this because again, I didn't look up any instructions to start, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to Google this. And here's where I moved it to. Again, it got its own table. So it comes with the mat, and then it comes with a non-adhesive vinyl sheet, which I've ordered more for already because I don't want to not have that, and you have to have it on there or it's going to completely shred up your entire mat. And then you also need to replace the tape rollers on the side. So it comes with extra rollers. It just doesn't come with the extra sheet of vinyl. So I did order that already. So here I am plugging it in and getting myself ready to go. A few things that I learned since setting this up. The power button is a long hold power, and for a lot more information, you can check out my blog that will list a ton of stuff about this in the description below. And so it's a long power hold, and the power button is also your emergency stop button. So you have to keep that in mind. There is a pause on the LED screen, but I have found from the week of using this that whenever I hit that button, it doesn't immediately stop. So the only thing that I have found to immediately stop it, and again, I've made mistakes, so I've needed to hit that emergency stop, is if I hold that power button. That's the only thing I have found to have worked. So the pause hasn't worked for me, and maybe I'm using it wrong, but that's just what I've noticed. Of course, during setup, you do need to input your auto blade. It's not already in the machine, so it is separate. You will have to pull out the tab where the blade goes and then insert it and then lock it in with that tab. And now we're going to look at the roller and how to add it to your machine. And this is also how you're going to add on your electrostatic mat. And so it's going to open like this. There are two pieces on the side. That's where you're going to put your roll, your vinyl roll. And then there's like a cutter right in the front, in between the machine and the roller. It'll make more sense once I have it attached onto the machine. But this is how it's all set up. You'll see there's like a little piece here that will connect. So the first thing you're going to have to do is go to the bottom of your machine. And there are two lock pieces on the bottom that you'll have to unlock. And it's going to remove that bottom piece. It's not really the bottom. I would say it's like more the front bottom. And this is going to remove this front piece off. And that's going to allow you to attach the roller and the electrostatic mat. Not at the same time. You're going to have to switch these out. But this is how you attach them on. Now, I just put that piece off to the side, and I'm going to be honest, I'm just going to keep it off the whole time because I'm not about like the look of it. I just really want to have ease because when I'm crafting and I have a lot to do, I don't care if it has that piece on or not. My mat's going to cover it no matter what, and it just is what it is. So this just kind of like locks on over it, whereas the electrostatic mat actually has an electric piece that will need to line up so that there is electricity going to the electrostatic mat. So this just locks on, and there it is connected, and you can put your roll of vinyl into it. I'm going to grab one to show you, and then you can feed it through. And this machine does do matless cutting, so that means that you can put in your vinyl and it will cut without having a mat underneath. And so that's how you're able to cut 16 feet worth of project. I don't know if I'll ever do that, but I know people do it. So I do think it's pretty cool that you have that option. Okay, now switching this out. So this one, you're just going to lift up your machine and take it out. Now, I found out, of course, through making a mistake and hearing an awful noise, there are buttons on the top part near the machine of the electrostatic mat in the corner that you press down to release this from the machine. See, I'm trying to like lift it up and stick it in. You don't have to do that. All that you have to do is just push it in to the machine while it's level on the table. There is, again, a little metal piece that where the electricity will meet. So make sure that's lined up and then it'll be connected. The next thing you're going to want to do is these snaps are going to have to be moved over. So you just lift them up and move them over and align them. This is for your mats to make sure everything is clipped in. So I just moved over my 3 that are on the right. The one on the left is not going to move. And so I kind of evenly spaced them. Now looking at it on here, it's not evenly spaced. That, where you just saw me lift my hand was, it's electrostatic. So it does electrocute you. But think about it in a way when you're like in socks on carpet. This is me reading if it's telling me that I'm going to be electrocuted, so I turned it off. I still got electrocuted after I turned it off too. But it's not like an electrocution where you're like, oh my God. But at the same time, I wouldn't want my son touching it. So this bag is housing that vinyl. It's like a thicker plastic, basically. It's not adhesive, and that's what's going to go right onto your mat. And then there's this roll with it, and that's what you're going to have to replace after use. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. Just going to store it in a safe spot. And the vinyl sheet that you get with it, you are going to place on. There's a black line towards the top of the machine that you're going to line this up with. So this will also stick down to the mat. I know some people have gotten theirs and it was all wrinkly. You see me do this like a million times where I lift my fingers up. But you just place it on, and if it's wrinkly, my suggestion is to leave it on with the electrostatic mat turned on for a little bit. There's a power button towards the bottom on the right of the mat. I just want to show you what it looks like in Silhouette Studio before we do our first cut and how you have to update the firmware. So here we are in Silhouette Studio, and you'll see I did connect via Bluetooth to my Cameo with my Mac. So you'll see Bluetooth, and then it says my Cameo is connected, and I didn't need to do anything other than that. It was just there. And now I'm going to update the firmware. So it says updating firmware. It's going to say checking for firmware update, and then you will update it there. So you just have to click the buttons and follow the prompts, and don't turn off your Cameo or your computer. So I actually had to redo mine because my computer shut down. It went to sleep or whatever. So I actually had to restart mine to get it to properly work. And then once it's ready to go, it will say, no media loaded, and you can start your cut. So I started with that lightning bolt. You slide your electrostatic mat all the way up to the top and hit the load button on the LED screen. It's the bottom right button with the arrow pointing up, and then you start the cut. Now, this was my first cut, so it actually went okay. The only thing was I think I had my settings wrong in terms of the size of the material that I was using. So it wasn't anything to do with the machine or the cut. It was just where the placement was, but it cut really beautifully, so that's good. And you'll see I ended up cutting this lightning bolt a few times, and I was a little upset with myself because on one of the cuts I must have loaded the mat wrong, and I ended up scratching my brand new electrostatic mat. So just be patient with yourself, read directions, watch videos. Again, you push your electrostatic mat all the way up to the top. Make sure that all of your clip markers are aligned properly so that the mat can load in. You're going to hit the load button in the bottom right-hand corner, and then you can send your project through. So I use the little arrow that has a loop, and that just repeats the project over and over again. And, it works beautifully. The electrostatic mat is great for paper crafters. I have to say that. I did use it on textured paper, and it was a no-go. But for regular cardstock and thinner cardstocks, I'm a huge fan of it. So a few things to note about the Silhouette Cameo. It is extremely fast, like to the point where I was like, did I touch something and now it's just moving fast? I mean, it's so fast. It is a little bit louder than a Cricut, but I think it's quieter for a Silhouette, if that makes sense. If you are more of a vinyl crafter, I would wait to get the electrostatic mat. But if you're a paper crafter, I say go for it. It's great. I love having it. And I cannot wait to show you all the other blades that this machine is capable of using, especially the heat foil pen, which I have not ordered yet, but that tool just looks so cool, and I cannot wait to use it. Thank you so much for joining me as we unboxed and made a first cut with my Silhouette Cameo 5. If I helped you learn something about Silhouette, then please don't forget to give this a thumbs up. It helps me so much. Please subscribe and follow along for my Silhouette journey. I promise I'm going to be doing both Silhouette Cameo and Silhouette Portrait videos. I've even started to include in my tutorials for my crafting how to set up in Silhouette Studio, because I think that it's great to show different ways to do things and not just Cricut Design Space. And share this with one of your crafty friends, especially if they've been on the fence about getting a Silhouette versus a Cricut, which I will definitely be doing a video of the comparisons in the future. I will see you soon in my craft room, and stay crafty.